Anthony, right, sir? Anthony?
Yeah.
Can I chime in here?
Yeah, sure.
We know for a fact that Israelites were enslaved by Egyptians who are black. And we know
Mm-hmm.
for a fact that Israel was a black nation. It still is a black nation. So Israel enslaved by a black nation, Egypt. Then Israel was enslaved by the Philistines, the Canaanites, the Babylonians, all black nations. It just so happened that this last enslavement, Europeans were involved with the tall ships and brought them to Brazil, brought them to the US, UK. So, yes, you could say the Europeans was Israel's enemy, but Israel's enemy was also the Canaanites, the Philistines, the Egyptians, and so on and so on. And there were black nations. So is it really a color thing, or is it about truth and lie, who you serve, who I serve?
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
So I was saying Esau is from the seed of Abraham.
Right.
So he's not a stranger.
Good point.
He just didn't really care about his inheritance. So we had some Edomites, in Jerusalem. I think Herod was an Edomite.
Yeah.
I'm not certain, but I think.
So you think that when he gave up his birthright for the porridge, does that mean that he didn't care about it, or was he really hungry, or?
No, he wasn't that hungry. He was a hunter. He knew how to eat. He had already sold it for the porridge, and then he gave it away twice before,
Right.
his dad was about to give it to him. And so even before he was born in the womb, the God of Israel said,
of course,
he hated Esau and he loved Jacob. But I don't know why. That's about the God of Israel's business.
It's true. Because if you think about it, Isaac lived 160 years. I could be a little wrong. I'm not sure. 160 years. So at that time when he blessed his children, they were 80 years old. So for 80 years, Isaac loved his son, man. He loved Esau more than he loved Jacob. And he was going to bless Esau.
God of Israel had to tell Rebekah,
that's
not
right.
Isaac.
There's a little switcheroo there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Isaac loved his son all the way till his death, so much that he was going to bless his son. But there was a little trickery there, right? So and also too, you made a good point. He wasn't a stranger. He must have kept the laws. He must have kept the ways of his father Isaac. He must have walked in his ways also. If he worshipped false gods, you think Isaac is going to be proud of him? No. So,
but he just kind of wanted to go his own way. He married the Hittite women or whatnot,
right?
And they could have been black women.
Of course, they were black women.
Children would have came out black.
So he also married an Ishmaelite woman, and Ishmael is from Abraham, right?
Yeah, Egyptian and a black.
Yeah, he married 3 black women. So let me ask you this, right? Hypothetically, if he was white, like a European white guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he marries 3 black women, his offsprings would be what color, you think?
Mixed.
Mixed.
Light skin.
It could vary, right? It could vary. It all depends on the genes, right?
It can skip some generations.
Exactly. Now let's say those children remarry into their mother's tribes.
Then they're going to come out darker.
And after a few generations, that white gene would probably be eradicated.
Right, but the caller, Canuck, said that they went over with the Gentiles, that Esau, so that gene, would have got lighter and lighter on that side.
Right.
But in the beginning, Jacob and Esau, they made up.
They did. They wept on each other's shoulder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that Esau, he wasn't part of the blessing that was given to Abraham. I want to say that Esau and Jacob, they were twins, but even before they were conceived, it was said and it's mentioned that one the younger will rule the older.
That's right.
And it would be two nations in the bowels.
Right, and that's what Canute read earlier, yes.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay. Go ahead.
So even though they were twins, one had a softer skin here, and that's why he had to put the goat skin on his hands. I'm not sure if you touched on that already.
No, we didn't. We kind of went over it. But yes, Jacob had to put goat skin on his arms to fool his father.
So that he can feel like his brother Esau.
Exactly, right.
So that tells me that one, which is Jacob had the hair like wool, which is stemmed off the descendants of slavery, stemmed off of him. So I know that we, the descendants of slavery, black people of North America, the Caribbean, and West Africa, we are descendants of Jacob.
Okay. I think we all agree that.
Great.
So let me ask you a question.
That's my comment.
So let me ask you a question. I'm going to throw a scripture to you.
Go ahead.
In 2 Kings 1:8, it describes Elijah as a hairy man. So does the hair really depict what color the man is or a person is?
The hair doesn't tell you what color. I have family members who are dark, but they still have smooth hair.
Right.
So no, I totally agree. It doesn't tell the color of the skin.
All right, no problem.
So do you have another comment for me?
Another comment? I was going to ask you, do you have another comment for me?
No, that would be all for tonight.
And this is...
But I'm enjoying the show. Thank you so much.
This is Donna from...
Brampton.
Thank you very much, Donna from Brampton. You have a good day.
And have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
And that's North Africa. You got Canaanite. That's in the Bible.
Yes.
That's South Africans. Then you got Gomer, which is Turkey. Magog, which is Russian. You got Javan, which is Greek. You got Ashkenaz, which is German. Tarshish, which is Spanish. And you got Chittim.
Okay, good. Now, you said something very interesting. Magog, Ashkenazi.
Right.
Who describes themselves or identifies themselves as Ashkenazi today?
Well, the Jewish. Jewish. Now,
we know they're not the real Jews. That's why they're called Jewish, and we call them the so-called Jews.
Right. I was just trying to say it for edification purposes.
Yes. So I think we agree on a lot of things. So my point here is, they say they're Jewish. You know what I mean? So they're telling you they're not really Jew. They're somewhat, but they identify themselves as Ashkenazi, right? Where does he come from? Doesn't he come from Japheth?
Well, let me ask the audience a question.
Okay.
I want them to chime in again. I got a question for the audience.
Is this a challenge?
Now, going to the New Testament. Recalling back with King Herod. Okay. Do the audience even know that King Herod was an Edomite, but he was labeled as the king of the Jews?
He was. His father, right.
He was a convert.
Right. Edomian. They used to call him Edomian.
Right.
So just to let people know, back in those times, the Edomites were called Edomians. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Idumeans. Sorry, I pronounced it right. Okay. No problem. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I just was asking the audience, to chime in on what they think of King Herod. Okay. He was labeled as king of the Jews, which can be, if you just reading the Bible, it can be confusing.
No.
You would think that he was an Israelite. Right. Being labeled king of the Jews.
Yes.
But he wasn't. He was actually a convert. He would study the real Jews, the Israelites, study their ways, and it's carrying on to today. So the Ashkenazis, Magog, these are all part of the reason with Esau laying down with Amalek. He laid down with Lot's children,
right?
Which is Moab,
right?
Basically, they're children of incest. The Chinese are, I'm not trying to offend nobody, but Lot did. He did sleep with
his two daughters. He was drunk. Right.
And
now let me interrupt you real quick. Let me say the Gentiles, right? Okay, you got Noah's sons. Let's start from Noah's sons. You have Japheth, and it says that this is where Magog, Ashkenazi, and the Gentiles come from. Am I correct? From Japheth.
Correct.
And we see that the Gentiles, they were a white nation. And you see that the people that associate themselves with the Ashkenazi name are white people as well. So it seems like Japheth, his lineage, it seems like white people come out of there. And we know that Shem, that's where Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Esau comes from, right?
Correct.
And then you have Ham, and that's where the Hamites, the Egyptians, and all those guys come from too. So are you saying that the Gentiles or the white people mixed with Esau at some point in time, and they became they're white or whatever it is?
What I'm saying is that when you start to like when good point you bringing up with the sons of Noah, Japheth, Ham, and Shem is number 3 sons.
Right.
So when Esau did come into the picture, he started when he laid down with he pretty much laid down with 3 types of people, which started progenitizing different races.
Okay, like it says that Esau was red all over, and then then it mentions that it's either the hair or the complexion, and it also says ruddy. Now, if we go to 1 Samuel 16, 11 and 12, or 1 Samuel 17:42, when the Philistine Goliath, when he saw David, he said that he looks ruddy. The same word described Esau. So my point is, right, if you're describing Esau red or ruddy, which is the same word, and you're also describing King David, not at this time, but a young man, King David ruddy, and then also in Lamentations 4, verse 7, who are they? They're described also the same color, red. These are Israelites, Nazarites. So you got all these people, Esau, David, the Nazarites, they're all described as ruddy people. So can you say that Esau was white and then say that David is a black man, even though he's described the same?
Well, okay, I want to reiterate what you're saying, because, well, for one, ruddy, the word ruddy, let me going back to English, the English language, okay, is very deceptive, okay? When you go to the original scripts of Paleo-Hebrew or Aramaic, the words have the meaning changes a lot. It interchanges a lot, and I think it's very deceiving.
Right.
And that's why I think you should always go by, the the ruddy word as far as the
No, I hear you. I know what you're trying to say.
But because when you say someone is black,
yeah,
that don't mean you can have a albino. In fact, you can have a black man, a so-called black man, and a so-called black woman, and give birth. I'm talking about modern day. Today, they could pop out, give birth to a red Caucasian looking straight person.
Right.
But they're really still black. If you got to call them black because their father is black, the mother is black.
Right.
You can't call them really Caucasian or white, even though I got a nephew who looked just like he got red hair, he's white skin, and he has his father's black.
Okay.
So I think we got to really get down into the precepts of the text, because when you start saying, okay, this person's black or King David was black, but that don't really you're not doing ourselves justice, because Noah was really albino or light-skinned person, but he was considered, Israelite. He was a Israelite descendant.
Well, there was no Israel at that time, but yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. It's John Hyrcanus II. He was high priest of Judea, and he was also he reigned in Judea for a time. It says here that he lived 76 to 30 BCE, right? So we're saying about 30 years before the birth of Jesus. Let's just call him Jesus for the sake of this thing. Now, it says that Hyrcanus, he took the Idumeans, and he said, if you want to live in this land, you must be circumcised, and you must keep the laws of the Jews. And of course, they said yes. And it says here, and of the rest of the Jewish ways of living, at which time, therefore, this being them, that they hereafter no more than Jews. So meaning that after that time, they were known as the Jews because they took on the customs. They got circumcised. They took on the laws. They became a one. And from that time on, they were Jews. And then it goes to say here too, in 70, where Rome was ransacking the temple, there was 20,000 Edomians side by side with the Jews fighting for independence from Rome. And after which, the Edomian people are no longer mentioned in history. It's because they merged with Israel at that time and they became one nation. Right now there's a conflict of what color still of Edom. Esau, but at this point they became one nation, and that name Edomites, Esau, Edomian, whatever they were called before, was no more. They were lost in history because they became one with the Jews. The air, 647. Hello, you're live.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I am fine, thank you.
Good. Where are you calling from?
Brampton, Ontario.
Hey, another
Canada.
Brampton. You got a question, comment? Real quick, I got a few seconds left.
I have a comment about Esau being called red.
Yes.
In the Caribbean, where I'm from, when a black person have very light complexion, they would refer to them as red.
Like Sanford and
they were
like Sanford and Son.
This red girl coming down the road, or
right.
This red boy.
Right.
It means light-skinned black people. They're still black, but they're light-skinned.
Okay.
Or brown.
I got it. It's just like Sanford and Son. Fred Sanford. His nickname was Red Fox.
Exactly.
Malcolm X was Detroit Red, and then you had Sinbad. He was called Red.
Yeah.
These are all black men, but they have a tinge of red in their skin or in their hair, right? And so that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate your call. Unfortunately, I gotta go. But thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Kanook.
Yes.
The time is done. But I do appreciate your time. We got to do this again, part 2. How's that feel? But hey,
Yes.
is there anything you want to plug, promote?
Yeah, I like to say, if anybody, if you're on Facebook, or if you have Facebook, or I got a group on Facebook called by the name of Truth on Deck. If you can, please, join the group.
Truth on Deck. Okay.
Truth on Deck. Join it if you can. I appreciate it. And my YouTube is ZOI, Zeal of Israel.
Okay.
So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Let's keep in touch and let's try to do this again, part 2.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, sir. You have a good day. Thank you.
You too. Have a good night.
Okay, bye. Peace.
Bye.
All right, there you have it. I don't know, it's a lot of information to take in, boys and girls, but what can you do? So, next, please don't go nowhere, because you're in for a treat. We have the one, the only Bible Big Mouth Show. And like I said, I'm going to sit right over there and listen to his show. And his topic is, do parents have the right to circumcise their child? Until next time, peace, everybody.